What's up, bikers? Episode 179. Bet you were wondering what number it was going to be today. Anyways, we have Jurgen on today from Cyclingskills, and we're going to talk about his channel and how he got to where he is. So before we get started, though, I want to say a few things. First of all, thank you to everybody that's become a member or a patron. It really helps a lot, honestly. That support it keeps me trudging along and not basically burning my house down with what am I trying to say? It really helps is what I'm really trying to say. Not burning my house down. Where was I going with that? I don't even know. It's been one of those days today. Ugh. Anyways, so check it out. Some of the sponsors of the show is Fazari Bikes, but it's now Ari, in case you didn't know. And I'm going to be picking up one of their e-bikes. They got a whole fleet of stuff there. They have this Nebo Peak that just released. It's a 150, 140, 150 travel, and it is like that lightweight, do everything e-bike, man. So that thing's pretty nice, but I think what I'm going to go with is I'm going to pick up the Tim Peak, which is their 170 full power e-bike. And those of you guys that are watching on YouTube and you can leave a comment, tell me, should I go with this gray or should I go with this teal? I'm leaning towards the teal just because it'll make the Getty people excited, right? Anyways, outside of that, Tasco is also a supporter of the channel as well, and they just released these new Phantom shorts. It's the vapor color. It's like a really light gray. Sometimes it's hard to tell online, but I really like the color of them. And the first thing I said to Nate, the owner, was, look, dude, I'm pretty sure that the red dirt around here is just going to make these things look like crap. And he said that it has some kind of special coating on it, supposed to keep it from staining or help it to not stain as easily. So we'll see. If you're interested in them, though, swing by the site, use code BIKER, B1KER, save 20%. And those of you who have gone to the podcast on Apple and written me a review, thanks so much. Poopy Face Tomato Nose #1 wrote, best MTB and cycling hangout in chat. It's like Joe Rogan and Pink Bite had a baby. Totally cracked me up. Really appreciate the review. Any of you that have not written a review yet and you thought about it, swing by there. If you're watching on or listening on Apple, just write me a 5-star review. And if you're not thinking 5 stars, probably don't need to write a review then. But I know there's some options on Spotify and stuff like that too, where you can thumbs up or star a show. So if you do that as well, I just noticed they've been changing things around up there. I don't think they have reviews though. So whatever you can do on Spotify, do that too. So I really appreciate you guys doing all that. And let's go ahead and bring Jurgen on. Let's talk about bikes.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Guten Abend, Herr Schumacher.
Oh, you're German. I didn't know that.
I know. So are you, right? Or at least.
Yeah. My family is. Yeah. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. So.
All right, everybody's tuning out right now. They're like, oh God.
Right, but the German population is like, all right, here we go. This is our moment. Yeah. So, what part of Germany are you from?
Freiburg. So it's right the southwestern corner, close to France and Switzerland. About 50 kilometers each way is another border, which border is never far away anyway. So, and I know that I've been listening up on your podcast a lot, which by the way was super easy. And that Poopy Face Tomato Nose, I cannot believe I still have. I didn't know that I still have that. That was me, right? I can't believe I still have that. I guess it's iTunes name then or something. Login name.
Yeah, that's funny.
It used to be Poopy Face Tomato Nose on Instagram and on YouTube because I was like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, but, right. I'm sure it was easy to get that one. Nobody else had it, right?
Actually, I got rid of it and it was taken immediately.
Oh, that's funny.
You know what? I think there's interesting. There's a Family Guy episode. That's where I got it from.
Oh, interesting.
Tomato Nose, correct.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Is there skiing in Freiburg?
Nah, There's like, it's mostly cross country skiing. There's a little downhill skiing up on the Black Forest on top of the
That's what I
mountain.
thought. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I went there to go skiing once, and it
Yes.
was like one of my first times going downhill skiing, and my friends just took me straight to the Black Diamond Run. They were like, "All right,
What,
dude, this is how it goes."
what year were you there? What year was it?
Oh, I was in Germany in like 95 to 98.
95, 98. Yeah. I moved to the US in 95, literally.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What places?
Yeah, I miss Germany. I would like to go back one of these days and see some other things that I didn't get to see. So I really enjoyed it over there a lot. So
Yeah.
that's cool, man. What made you move to the States?
Got hitched, my better half. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of she's a racer, I was a racer, we met at racing, and then we were traveling together for a lot. Like during the season, you really don't have a
Mhm.
home. It doesn't really matter
Mhm.
where you live. You really don't have to live anywhere because you're just going
Right.
from race to race. So it didn't really make a difference. And then we rented like a condo in Durango for a while, and I still had an apartment rented in Germany. And it
Uh-huh.
was like, I'm renting 2 places and I'm at none of them. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I could do. Rent 2 places and not be at any of them. So I was like, we gotta make a decision here, So it's like, then we did like a couple of months in Germany, which was great. She loved it, but it was definitely, looking out longer into the future a little bit more difficult for her to get a footing, language, everything.
Mhm.
And I liked the US, I really enjoyed it over here. And I was like, I'd rather just go here and there and just, it didn't make a difference to me. I was raised, my dad was a chef. Like
Yeah.
by age 12, I've moved already 6 times within Germany. Like
Uh-huh.
like making friends was like no problem,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a
whatever.
problem.
No, it's not. Exactly.
Yeah, I
So I
moved
just
around a lot when I was younger too, so I think it definitely it definitely makes you more like socially capable, I guess you could say.
yeah. No. That was military family or because of what?
No, we were just poor, and I feel like my mom would like we'd have a place for however long the lease was, and then by the time the lease was up, we'd be having to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So
So
more like within the area, moving around.
yeah, I moved around a lot in Pennsylvania, and
Yeah.
then I bounced around with different family members too when I got in the like a little bit older. So yeah, it was definitely lots of moving. I think I went to high school in 4 different states. Yeah.
All East
So
Coast mostly then, or?
Georgia, Florida, Pennsylvania, and California is where I went to high
All
school
right.
at.
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Quite the
kind of all
opposite.
over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
Very cool. No,
So
it's
it says on your cycling skills page that you were a MTB World Cup winner.
mhm.
What was that?
That was I've won a bunch of World Cups individual races.
Hmm.
And then I've won the overall downhill World Cup in like 93. And then I got second overall in 94, 96.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's many moons ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a whole different. I'm
Downhill
like,
racing was a lot different back then, huh?
well, it's still started at the top and finished at the bottom. The bikes were
Right.
actually,
Yeah.
in my perception, you can almost take any of the good racers from then, transplant them into this era, this time, and they would still kill it because they would adjust. So actually, I think we were more, we had to learn really quick because you had to learn quickly or you would hurt yourself because equipment failure was the thing. Like
Hmm.
things would break. I mean, forks would just snap on you because they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm not good enough." Oh well, you know what I mean. You had to basically rein in your skills based on equipment. You couldn't
Right.
ride all out because you're like, there were sections where I was like, I could drop off and land this, but it's a bit of a flat landing. So I know my bike will not handle this. I can handle it,
Yeah.
but my bike will not. Or my cranks will
Right.
like they were like it was a World Cup in Big Bear that had a flat landing. You would launch out of the, like literally was into the finish area. It was like 10 feet to the finish area. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this once because if I crash, I cross the finish line. So because cranks, bottom brackets would just give up, that was like, so you had to like calculate this thing. But I think humans have always been great at adapting and being good athletes, so that I would never say that my generation or when I raced, we were the best or the fastest. Like these kids are saying now that they're the fastest. Before us, there were guys doing amazing stuff on even shittier equipment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've seen some like black and white footage of people on cyclocross bike going down icy hills. I'm like, insane, right? But
I read a story about a guy that rode a penny farthing from like California to the from coast to coast.
Yeah.
So he like rode that thing over like the mountain ranges. You know what I mean? It's like there was not paved roads like when he did that. It was like
ultimate fixie, man.
Yeah, just crazy to think about, that somebody would do that, and like you said, it's I'm sure the technology now definitely allows people to like push as far as they can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think anybody ever launches off a jump or a drop off and thinks, I hope my bike can hold up when I land. They worry more about, am I hitting this landing right? Am I doing it right? They worry about themselves more than about the bike. How often do you bomb down a hill and there's a really sharp turn at the bottom and you're just braking really hard? Do you ever think your fork's going to snap off? No, right? Probably not.
Right.
Yeah, I had forks literally just fold in under me, like just riding.
That's crazy.
My wife had a really bad accident with a fork just snapping off. They had a big scar on her face. I mean, that's the early 90s. We were the test crash dummies for mountain biking, 100%.
Yeah. That's back when I actually started riding mountain bike right around that time too, in probably the early 90s, because I think it was like 92, 91 or 92 was the first time I got into riding mountain bikes. And at that point, like there wasn't even any hydraulics at all, like any like suspension forks or anything. I remember that was like 93 or 94. I think that rock shock started coming out.
First Scott Unishock suspension fork, which was a spring, a coil in no dampening. So it was basically a pogo stick. It was amazing for jumping high, but there was not suspension at all. Sorry.
It's interesting how, because I took a little break from mountain biking. So let's say around the time that I went into the military, so it was about maybe, let's just say like 95 to like 2005 or 2006. And when I came back into riding, it was like, it just blew me away how much the bikes had changed.
Yeah.
Like the whole industry, it's like, I remember walking into the shop thinking I was going to spend $2,000 and get like a kick-ass bike. And it was like, no, this is not like, I thought that was going to be like top of the line, and it was like, no, you're in the middle of the pack, at least at that point. And now it's like, good Lord. I mean,
but see how much it has changed from like the 90s until like, I would say 2007, 9, 10.
Yeah.
The last couple of years has been not super, like you can hold your own on a bike that's 5, 6 years old. I think you can. Like, well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Most people don't know the difference. They think they know the difference, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes this is the misunderstanding. People get on a different bike and they're like, this is so much faster. This is like, oh my God, this is the faster bike than, but I'm like, did you time yourself? Did you it could feel sketchier. It could feel squirrelier, feel
Yeah.
fast, yet be slower. Because I remember we were going, like, I was going from the Manitou with elastomer, crappy suspension. We would, progress to Turner mountain bikes, and then we had the Lowells, the straight eight, and the bikes would start feeling more settled, more calmer, and you would feel slower, but you would go faster. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes when somebody's like, this bike is fast, I was, how do you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
the only way to know is just clock it, and which nobody really
Yeah.
does. You know what I mean?
I think that the differences though that they've made in the geometry in the last like 5 years changed the way that the bikes ride a lot, at least in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I've given that advice to a bunch of people that have like a 4 or 5 year old bike, and I'm like, dude, instead of spending more money on that bike to like whatever, like just buy a new one. Because and it seems so weird because you'll look at the numbers and you'll be like, oh, it's like a degree more here, or this is only a couple centimeters or millimeters longer, and it's like you get on the bikes though, and just the way that they handle is so much.
But there's
better.
this whole other aspect of what bikes have become, and they've become amazingly safe. This is why also there is a lack of skills in the bike. There is a lack of skills in ridership out there right now, I find, because the bikes do most intermediate stuff, easy stuff, just doing it. They're just, you can kind of like, not unless you're really aiming for something crazy, you can kind of just be passenger almost.
Yeah.
Those,
A
it's
lot
just,
of people are super over bike too, so it's
oh,
like
yeah.
they're having a 170 mil bike on a ride that's really
I
a
got
cross country ride.
I got bike shamed last week.
Yeah.
I was on a
What
gravel
happened?
bike. I was gravel biking on a mountain bike trail, and somebody's like, "Nice bike," and he was like full decked out, full suspension. I'm like on a full rigid gravel bike, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was hoping he was going in the same direction, but he wasn't. So good dare me.
Right.
The trail wasn't really. It didn't really need any suspension. I was like, it's like
Yeah.
bike shaming me on the mountain bike trail. It was funny.
Oh, that's funny.
It is.
So it says also you did the X Games, and what was that like?
X Games, I did X Games, I think 3 times. They didn't know where to put us, right? So the first time was like dual slalom with like crossover jumps on top of each other. It was like
Oh yeah.
Mount Snow Vermont. It was kind of good and bad at the same time. And then they transferred us to the Winter X Games in Crested Butte. We did that twice, which was like they had a snow speed event, which I won.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of idiotic. It was kind of like straight down a ski slope, like side by side, 2 people. The fastest guy would advance to the next round. And I'm like, the hardest part on that whole thing was braking after you cross the finish line. That was it. It was because it was all rutted out. It was insanely difficult to slow down. But just going, I don't remember. It was a little something over 70 miles an hour on snow, which was
Brakes
fun.
back then were horrible too, man. I mean,
They weren't great, but that
yeah.
that was like 96. We had Hope, which is a great name for a brake. Hope, right? When
Right.
I hope they work.
Right.
And they had some issues in the very beginning. Good now. I'm assuming I haven't written them. I don't want to burn them. But back then in 96, it was in Italy in Nevergal at a World Cup. And I remember it was really steep. It was one of the steepest World Cups back in the day. The first one, it was just like, this didn't look like a trail at all. It just looked like a boulder field.
Yeah.
Steep and a lot of braking, a lot of hard braking. And I know that the pads would delaminate and the brake pads would shoot out. And then you go from like brake to no brake. And also that I didn't have an expansion reservoir that was like dealing with the heat. So you'd have to warm up your brake before you race, because you would heat up your brake so much that the lever would start moving out. So by the time you get to the bottom, you would almost have a locked up, it's hard to explain. You had a little dial adjuster at the top. Yeah, and you want to almost have it dialed back so that you can pull the lever all the way to the grip, that by the 3rd or 4th turn, the lever would start moving out. So that by the time you get to the bottom, you basically had to just barely tap it because the oil heat up and expand, and it would. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. We had
Yeah.
a lot of weird issues going on that we didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you had to take a lot of things into consideration that
yeah,
now it's just like skill set
right.
wise, what can you do, you know?
Yeah, and we had to learn as we, as equipment got better, we had to go with it and learn with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did come back. I stopped racing in 2000, and then somebody kind of said something to me like, "Oh, you would never do well, and like downhill's changed so much now. You don't know, whatever." And this is 2007, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Hold my beer. Hold on one second." Called the German Cycling Federation. I was like, there's a World Cup in Mount St. Anne, which I've raced many, many times.
Mhm.
And I was like, I didn't have any UCI points. You need to get UCI points to get to race a World Cup. But since I knew the guys at the German Cycling Federation, they're like, yeah, we can get you in. I was like, cool. So I got in and I raced I wore I wore a YMCA hockey jersey. I had no sponsors. I just drove up. It's like 5.5 hours from me, 6 hours from me.
Uh-huh.
And I got 17th at World Cup after
There
like
you go.
7 years of retirement. And I was like, yeah, still starts at the top, finishes at the bottom, but I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. This is like, it's really dangerous. And I don't have rubber bones. I don't get up anymore, and ended up breaking my back like 2 years after that in a mega avalanche in Alpe d'Huez in France. So, and I was like, that was
Oh,
it.
wow.
That was my last downhill or gravity event. Because I'm a fool. I know how to go fast still to this point. So I basically after it took me about 2 years to get fully recovered from the nerve pain and
Mhm.
two vertebrae, all this. Heck, man, it was good. It was a bad time. I didn't enjoy my life that much.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
promised
I'm sure.
myself that I'm never going to raise gravity again, meaning I'm not going to do anything that starts at the top and finishes at the bottom. Everything else
Uh,
is fair game. So cross country, or gravel, road, whatever. Even so, road I think is super dangerous.
had you done that mega avalanche thing before, or was that your first time, or?
No, I've done it twice. Um,
Yeah.
I got
What
10th.
happened? Just
I
like
got I
you were
got
just
still I got 10th with a broken vertebrae too. By the way,
oh, wow.
I got up. I had a really bad impact. It was midway point. It's about I don't quote me on this. I think it's about an hour downhill race. It starts on the glacier on top in
Mhm.
the Alps, Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah, I've seen the videos of people just like the mass
Yeah,
start of just
no, it's
everybody
great.
just
It's great.
falling all over each other and
Yep,
like just
yep,
cooking through turns and stuff.
yep, yeah. No, it's excellent. Um, I think. Oh, what happened? Yeah. Oh, my qualifier. I was leading my qualifier on. I was way out. It was great. And halfway point, there's this big compression, and it was super dry and dusty. It was like pumicey, like it was like super pumicey. And you know how
Mhm.
California gets?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost like riding through flowers, like you know. And there was a rock somewhere under the dust, and it just pinged me. But it was literally right before an uphill compression, so I lawn darted right into the uphill instant
Oh,
stop, chest first, kind of hit hard, broke thoracic, like T, I don't know, two of these guys.
uh-huh.
Um, the weird thing is, like, I just knocked the wind out of me and got back up. And I have this mindset of like, yeah, because in racing, I always expect mistakes. Like you never have clean runs, especially if it's an hour long downhill. You never have a clean run, so you have
Right.
mistakes. So the mental preparedness for me always in racing was shit's gonna happen, suck it up and mosey on, right? Just get
Yeah,
your shit
yeah.
together and just
Make it
go.
happen.
So hit hard, knocked the wind out of me, got up. I'm like, all right, hands, feet moving, get back on. It didn't feel right, but I kept rolling through and I ended up second in my qualifier.
Mhm.
And I was pretty bruised and I was super, like, it was really a different pain. But how do you know that you broke your back unless, somebody
Right.
tells you? In France, you're not going to get an x ray. I was pretty much in a lot of pain. But then I raced the next day and I got 10th. got home, got an X-ray done, and then broke my back. Good. Great.
Still managed 10th place though. How about that?
Yeah, no, it was not recommended. I'm definitely not the smartest. No, definitely just it's not great. I'm not proud of it. It's not it's not one of my best moments, for sure not. But it's a weird one. It's because my whole life I've been racing, so it's like it's been this pain thing that you deal with all the time. So I got really accustomed. I'm pretty great at accepting pain and living in it, you know. So this was just a different kind of pain. I was like, I'll live in it. It's fine, just keep going. You know what I mean? I mean, I've broken wrists and collarbones, and like when you're racing professionally, you don't really have the luxury of, I broke my wrist, I'm going to take this summer off. No. You're like, I think I'll be back in 4 weeks. That's kind of, and then you're like, 4 weeks later, you start taping it, and you're like, I think I'm like maybe next week or so. And then as soon as you can, you push, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not the greatest of all things, and you're always trying to fight for a contract, always trying to make money, and it's No, back then it was all. I mean, unless you were one of the bros and buddies with the magazines, which I was never. I was one of those racers that I got purely paid on results. I had to basically crush the competition to get paid and get a contract next year. I couldn't just I couldn't just be magazine boy. Didn't work for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that whole landscape's really changed that way too, huh?
Yeah, no, social media. I missed out on all of that. But not that anybody really cares anyway, who does what. Well, they do a little bit, right? I don't know how that translates.
I feel like it seems like companies are really expecting their athletes to be very active on social media. And I personally feel like that is wrong. Like to expect them to like have a YouTube channel or to like be posting reels or like content on Instagram. And, it's like, I just think that it's a lot of work to be a professional rider. And it's also a lot of work to do social media. And I think that if those companies really want those people to have that kind of presence, that I think that they should be doing it for them, and there's some people that I'm sure that would like, that do these things on their own and they're successful at it. But I don't feel like it's something that you should be asking an athlete, like deciding whether you're going to pick up this athlete because they also do social media. You know what I mean?
I see both sides because I have a business. My business is in the bike industry. I sell bike hangers, right? Like those guys back there. So who do I sponsor? Who would I sponsor? What do I see the value in and what makes sense? And I was on the other side too. And I know that I've sold bikes because of what I did, because I've talked to people and they're like, I love what you like. I bought the bike. Like people told me I bought the bike because of you. That happened all the time. Now I've had a couple of YouTube people use my products and they move the needle. And then I have racers that have gotten product for free that were just like nothing. Crickets and tumbleweeds, right? So what is more valuable for a company, right? The racing, social media, both. If you get both, it's a home run. That's why they want that. They want both because they have two shots at it. But I would almost, I'd hate to say it, man. If you're not winning, you gotta do it, man. Plus, it carries over. You can have a life after racing. For me, I mean, I did like at one point I couldn't make any money anymore, or at least I couldn't make enough money. I mean, 2000, I couldn't get a ride for like 50 grand. Nobody would give me that much money, and that's like one injury and one hospital visits and all. It's like 50 grand. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. I can do something else.
Yeah.
But at that point, you pull the plug, you got nothing. You got nothing. You got no. Maybe you have some connections in the bike industry if that's what you want to do, but most likely you over it at that point anyway, because they're all just cut your legs off and not paying you anymore, right? So they're like replacing you with some younger kid. So you're just like there most likely. I know a lot of guys that are like, maybe they're not openly bitter, but they're like a little sour.
Yeah.
Because once you get old, I mean, there's always young blood coming up. It's just how it is,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But
It's the nature of the business.
now you have the chance of connecting with the fans that you build throughout your career later on and make something of that. You have that option. We didn't have that option. You quit, or you didn't get a ride one day, 1 year, you were gone and just sat at home like, now what? What do I do now? You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to start a company. It's like, okay, you want to sell product? Well, who are you going to tell? Right? You have to have friends at magazines. They have to like you. Like, who's going to promote your stuff? Right. So highly recommend anybody who's any racer. I mean, I know you say they can't do it, but I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can. I think it's just I don't know. I think that I
it's just not healthy. That's the problem. It's not healthy. There was what was it 2 weeks ago? There was it last week? Joe Rogan podcast. There was a guy talking about social media. Did you hear that one?
No, I didn't. Nah.
Oh God, you gotta listen to it. I don't listen to him all the time, but that, like, I pick when there's good guests on it. That was a really good one, and it was all about the youth, like literally the lost youth with the social media and the phones, what it does to children. I mean, I can barely handle it. Putting the thing down, not staring at it, not reading comments all the time and interacting. I couldn't imagine having this as a child. It's just poison in a weird way, but
Yeah, it's definitely
I know
interesting.
I'm saying one thing and the other. I'm saying it's great and it's shitty at the same time. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I have moments. I hate it. I hate it today again, by the way. So, but that's all right. You know, it goes up and down. You know.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. I mean, it's I can see what you're saying as well. You know, from the brand's perspective, I think of what I was thinking about when I was saying it was more like the bike companies that are sponsoring the riders and then expecting them to, you know, have this super big, you know, social media following or presence as well. And I just think that, like, if you're expecting somebody to be like a podium kind of winner, that you shouldn't also be expecting them to, like, I know how much time it takes to make content. You know, it's like,
no,
I don't know. It seems like they're asking too much. It's like, either do you want them to be a racer or do you want them to be a social media person? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. It's and it's not going to stop. It's just not going to stop. Especially now. I mean, half the bike industry are just crying themselves to sleep right now. You know, it's just like it's dismal. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know how much you know about. I mean, wait, last week you had somebody on, right? Was it last week? Somebody who talked about the bike industry, or was an economist.
Yeah, I
Somebody.
think it was last week. That was the Bike 198 guy.
Yeah, he was great. He was great. It's just not good. I think that's not going to get much better if I have any sense for it right now. It's going to be like this for a while.
A couple of
So
years. It seems like, you know, there's a lot of things shaken out from the whole pandemic situation that like all over the place, like even with like automobiles and stuff like that. So
well, it's also the loans. It's the expense of a business right now,
yeah,
just in general. I mean, I'm lucky I don't have employees. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm not lucky, as you know, but I don't have anybody. It's just me. I don't have a lot of expenses. If I had that, then it would be a big problem.
yeah,
So I can't imagine what the numbers look like for companies right now, especially with interest rates up, you know, expenses up.
yeah. So
Expensive.
we're at in the States you live nowadays.
I'm 100 miles north of New York City in Kingston. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Kingston, New
right
York.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been good. I mean, it's winter, is a little long, but actually winter has been canceled also as far as snow goes the last couple of years. It's kind of
Yeah.
lame. So actually it feels a lot more like a German winter where it's just wet
Mm.
and cold, which I
Yeah.
don't like. I almost rather have it like really cold. Like just give me cold, like 10 degrees, 0. Give me just like, because you know what happens when it's that cold? It's dry. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, because then you can like get dressed up, go out and do stuff. But
Yeah.
like
I don't
30,
miss the winters. Not at all.
34 degrees or 34 or 36 degrees and raining. I was like, I don't know what to do with that. It's garbage.
Yeah.
That weather is, I'd rather have 20s with snow all day long.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but
So
I haven't had that in a long time.
so you started so you were doing a bunch of racing. You get to the point
Mm,
where you're not not you're thinking that's not your career anymore. You want to start a business in the cycling industry. So
mm.
where along the way do you decide that you want to try to start doing YouTube?
No, that was long. That was you jumped a couple of steps there.
What
Um,
I miss?
yeah, no, I did. I worked construction for a while. So my friend was building houses. I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I started working for him, learning how to do construction more or less. And then eventually I started my own little remodeling company. And then I ended up specializing in plaster work, tinted plaster, Venetian plaster, all that stuff. Did a lot
Mm.
of work in New York City. And that was my life for a very long time, which was great until 2007 when everybody decided to hate their houses and homes and apartments. And the financial crisis happened and nobody wanted to spend any money anymore. And a lot of contractors, a lot of people went out of business.
Yeah.
And I didn't go out of business, but I also was like not busy. I was like, this is like I was doing high end work, and then I
Hmm.
was doing no work, and then I was doing repair work, and it was the work that I hated more than anything.
Yeah. So you're
And I
like,
was
I'm
doing
over
a
it.
lot of like always with cracks on plaster ceilings. I was like, another ceiling. Can't charge enough, and it's my back. I had the broken back, so I was having to do
Yeah.
plaster ceilings. So I was like, I'm not going to age while doing this. This is bad.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Were you still
So
cycling all that time?
yeah, I never stopped riding because I
Mhm.
love riding. I
Yeah.
think I've been always riding. Riding was
Yeah.
always there. I like racing. I'm a big fan of racing, anything.
Hmm.
Um, but I always rode my bike. I never stopped riding. So,
So when did you start doing YouTube?
YouTube was a thing because I needed to get, hmm, how did that go? I did a Kickstarter campaign in 2014 or before. Well, wait a second. It all leads up to this. I did, after the construction went
Hmm.
bye-bye, I worked as a construction coordinator and designer on film crews. I was building sets,
Oh, that
and
sounds fun.
yes, it was I loved it. And sometimes the pay was terrible. Like independent movies, they would pay you like $120 a day for 12-hour days, and
Yeah.
just like brutal hours and just terrible, right? But great people, loved it, like had fun, loved it. It's kind of reminds me of YouTube now. Love it, don't make any money. Great. Same thing. So I got to work on sets a lot. I got to see
Mhm.
how things were shot and lit and all this stuff. And I learned
Mhm.
so much about filmmaking working on sets. And then my
Mhm.
wife's a hair and makeup artist, so I was always kind of there too. I saw film sets, how everything
Yeah,
was
yeah.
made. And I remember some of the movies I was doing a lot of construction for, I was watching the final product and I was like, this is not so good. I was like, this looked way better. Like it was like the post-production, something happened. I was like, what happened
Yeah.
here? It's terrible. This looked much better in real life. Um, so basically it wasn't really a great way of making a living unless you get into the union or get big budget movies. And that wasn't,
Yeah.
I felt kind of like I was a little too old for that too at that point. So I wanted to start my own business. I kind of missed having my own business. I didn't want to be bossed around. It can be a little, the film world is a little, they have the director of photography, you have a lot of uppers down, and construction is kind of like me. You know what I mean? The art departments always get shafted.
Yeah.
Props, all these people. Like the art department is the least paid and the most abused. Always the art department. Totally in the film world, in my eyes. So I had this idea for making furniture, which I made a couple pieces. I couldn't sell anything because nobody would be like, "Who are you making a table? It
Yeah,
looks
right.
great, but like this is way too expensive. I'm not going to pay you that much. It's a great table, but nope, not going to buy it." So I was like, okay. I had that problem, right? I didn't have an audience. I didn't have my people. Like,
Hmm.
I needed to make something for the audience that I could have, that I can connect with. And those were bike people. All my friends, everybody I know my whole life is cyclist.
Hmm.
So I went to the shop and I was like, I'll make a wall mount and see what I come up with that's original, that's mine. Like I'll completely start from scratch. I came up with a really cool design, hangs the bike by the seat, storage, helmet, great. Now, how do I sell this? Like, how do I get the word out? And that was 2014, and Kickstarter was just a thing. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, cool. I can actually not get this in production. Um, Maybe I should mention I was a tool and die maker by trade in Germany before I started racing bikes. So I had some sort of production experience and how to
Some
make.
manufacturing experience. Yeah, I got it.
Exactly. Um, so I was like, well, if we can injection mold this, that's going to cost about 50 grand or something. I was like, that's going to be pretty expensive. So I was like, I can raise the money in Kickstarter. And if I get the money together, we can get this going, right? I was like, all I have to do is make a video. There it goes. So I had to make videos, right? I had to tell the story of the bike hanger, which was called Shelfie back then. And that was kind of my first video that I made for Kickstarter. We raised the money. I think we raised like $60,000 and got the company started. And that video also lives somewhere on YouTube on another channel, in another world, in another dimension. I've had
So
4 channels. I've ruined them all so far.
So
Uh,
how'd that whole Kickstarter thing go? Basically, you make this video and you promise people that you're going to, if you raise the money, that they'll get a product, right?
right.
That's basically how it goes.
That was the main. You give rewards. Some people,
Uh-huh.
because the product back then, I think pre-orders more or less what that is, right?
Right.
Was $125 for the unit. And then if people want to like pitch it but don't buy the product, they can buy stickers for $5 or t-shirts for whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
There were different levels of rewards on how you can help me get to my goal so I can get this company started. Great
Uh-huh.
concept. Such a great, like, entrepreneurial, positive thing. Of course, everything that's great gets freaking ruined, right?
Right.
Well, because I did another Kickstarter campaign like 2 years later, and it was a completely different vibe.
Then it
Um,
happened, huh?
no, it
What do you
happened.
think? What do you think? What do you think made it successful? That, like,
It was
just
a
the product? You
success.
think it was
Oh, like the platform Kickstarter or my thing?
your product that you launched on
I,
Kickstarter?
I think people really they have an affinity for clean design, good story, back like the story. If you
Hmm.
come up with something and tell the story why it is what it is and who's behind it. Because as soon as I launched the Kickstarter, I got sued by a company, like, hello to corporate America, right in the face. I've literally got punched in the face almost every corner I've taken in my life, and I got punched hard 2 weeks. I've filed for a trademark for this, for Shelfie. It was called was it was selfie with Shelfie. It was cute then. I'm happy I don't have it now. But I filed for the trademark, and there was nobody else using the name. Um, and as soon as I launched the Kickstarter and it was having traction, I got like a lot of views, a lot of press. It was like in Design Milk, and all these design publications were featuring. It was pretty phenomenal. I got a letter about a whatever season this is, and that they have used the name Shelfie in commerce forever, and that, whatever. It was a long story short. I ended up calling a friend of mine who's kind of Larry Peasy. I think he was vice president of Raleigh Bikes or Raleigh e-bikes back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him this whole story that they want to get this name Shelfie from me. I filed the trademark. They don't have a leg to stand on, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me, how long have you been in business? I was like, 2 weeks. He's like, just change your name. Forget it. It's not worth it. And
Yeah.
he was right. The lawyers were all saying, like, you can win this. I was like, yeah, okay. But
they all wanted to get paid though, right?
That it is. It's so
They're like,
hard.
of course you can win this, man.
My God, there's just I hate him. I hate him. I hate
it's
them
a
so
racket.
much. It's a racket. I know.
Yeah.
So
what'd you change the name to?
The Hanger, which is much better. The Hanger, it's like, so it's in German and in English. The Hanger. It's like, great. And I made the umlauts on it. So I was like, this is the dumbest name. Nobody will ever want this. Nobody will steal this. It's great. Love it.
Yeah.
No, it's been the Hanger ever since. Right. So
there you go.
Love it. Now I made another Kickstarter 2 years later, and I made the Dan pedal hook, which was also a success. It was like $20,000 in like 4 weeks. So I raised to get that launched, and all products are made here in the US, which is also probably a reason why I'm not super successful.
So the pedal hook and the other hanger, you still are creating those and selling those?
Yeah, I'll make everything comes to me. There was a moment in time, yes, where life was good and I had wholesale prices and I sold to shops, but I can no longer do that because steel prices, everything's gotten crazy. And I was like, well, if I work for nothing, I might as well just sell less and have more time off and make the same amount. So I had to kill the wholesale business and bike shops. I still do deep discounts for shops if they want to use our product for display, but the wholesale business kind of got killed off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but it's still there. I'm here. And that basically, I think, also YouTube was a different animal, man. I threw it was unedited, I believe. It was an unedited how to hang 2 bikes on one wall video up, like a how-to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, like, I talked to the camera. I was like, unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of my ass now because I'm going to install this.
Yeah.
And it was unedited. It was like 15 minutes long. And that got like 50,000 views. And it wasn't about the views so much, but it fed my business for at least 2 or 3 years. That's the power that YouTube has, and they know they have it now, and they're putting the lid on it, right? They don't let that would never happen ever again, right? That was like a timing, Kickstarter. That also went down the tubes. Kickstarter is garbage now. It's completely infiltrated by just junk. You know what I mean? It's not actual people anymore. It's just companies pretending to be people, and most of the companies are actually Chinese pretending to be American companies. It's garbage.
Interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of film work trying to get these videos to start your business or to get your business going. So at what point do you decide to like make content like what you're making now?
Well, so there was how did that actually happen? That's a really good question.
Did you have somebody that like inspired you? Like you were watching some other channel and you're like, you know what? I think I have something to share here.
I was watching, I think it all kind of started making cycling content because I was making a cycling product. So I wanted to get the word out. It was like, hey, you can't just always be salesy. It's like, here's my stuff, buy it. Here's my thing, buy it. That doesn't work, right? So it's just like, I'm a bike rider. I ride my bike and this is how I store my bike, whatever. It's just in this, it's a background. It's a thing that happens in behind the scenes, but it's my life that I live is a cycling lifestyle. And this is part of it. And maybe people will discover it through what I'm doing anyway. So I just made videos and we wanted to go to the races and travel and this and that. And that was also when van life was getting kind of popular, and I started building out a van, and then I started making videos about the van, building it out. And then
there you go. That'll take you off every time, huh?
I know. And then that caught on fire, that I was building a van, and I was kind of a goofball about it. And all of a sudden I had like 6,000 van subscribers on my channel, and they had nothing to do with bikes. So and every time I posted a van video would do great, and every time I posted a bike video, it would just thumbs down and unsubscribes. It was just a horrific experience, because of in what, like, YouTube's universe, and people can only have one interest, whatever. It's the dumbest thing ever. And I guess people are like that. They're not, but for some reason the algorithm doesn't understand it, that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can do two things.
Yeah, right.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, and now so I ruined that channel because I ended up I mean, those 6,000 subscribers are still, they're sitting over there. I'm not even posting.
They're just waiting for you to build another van, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. I said to my wife, it's like, we got this van, I got 130,000 miles. I want to run it for like 200 or so. I mean, like, that's when I start getting rid of it, because it takes a lot of time and stuff, you know. But I'm like, all these people want me to build another van. I was like, I don't have to wait another 5 years. But there's 6,000 subscribers waiting for me to build another van, and
it's gonna happen, man.
It's gonna happen. Like, eventually I'll resurrect the whole thing. But yeah, that's sitting there. So I started another channel, which is the Cycling Skills channel, which was actually the hanger, and then it was Poopy Face Tomato Nose, and then it was my name, Jurgen Beneke, which was a terrible idea, because nobody really this is the thing. Nobody really cares what you did or how good you were. They judge you on what you're doing. So when I make videos on how to ride a bike a lot of times, and the comments are so amusing to me, because people are really just like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, I don't know. I think I do. I'm not sure, but I think I did okay. So maybe it's because the analogy, or how you look at something, there's more than one way of doing the same thing, right? So just because one person says you should do it this way, there's maybe another person that says you could go a little bit the other way, and the result might be the same, right?
Yeah.
But to say like he doesn't know what he's talking about is kind of foolish. And there's a lot of that in the YouTube world, right? But it's amusing to me, right? Because obviously they don't really look deeper into it. And
yeah, some of it's just the internet though too, man. I mean, I think that there's people whose sole purpose on the internet is just to like try to give other people shit, you know. And like that's what they get off on, you know. Like they're like, I'm just gonna go out here and write a bunch of shitty comments all over the place and see who I can piss off, because that makes me feel good, you know.
Really, I don't hold a grudge or I'm mad at them. They don't really are mean about it either. It's just they know better, right? And I have, okay, so on Cycling Skills, this is how, also again, this channel is not ruined yet. I'm working on it. But so I had a video that I posted that I fucked up the video. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you can say whatever you want, man. It's a bar.
I fucked up the audio. So I got this Rode microphone thing. There's two of them, right? But you can set them up where it's each mic does a channel, right?
Yes.
Left and right. Yeah, I was doing the audio with one mic, basically just one side. Worked on my desktop, edited. Man, that looks great. Sounds great. Send, upload, done. You know, didn't think of anything.
You didn't realize it wasn't in stereo until after it was uploaded. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments is like, well, my right ear disagrees with this. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I listened to it. I was like, oh no, half the video is only on one ear. And I'm like, it's a good video. Well, next, right? I'll just let it sit. Who cares? That's the
Yeah.
video now. 400,000 views. It's the most watched video. I don't know because people are irritated at the audio, like cutting in and out, and they're like, "This guy doesn't know what he's doing," or whatever.
Yeah.
But that is also a video with people commenting a lot about. Well, that video is actually weird. It ends with the video. Did you watch that one by any chance? Where it
No,
ends
I
like
don't think so.
I end the video with a recommendation of what bike is the best bike for you. And it's basically saying that it's the one you already have and that you should not buy a bike on credit. And then this video is sponsored by nobody in the bike industry. So it's basically I'm shooting myself in the foot right from the start. So, and that got a lot of likes. People loved it. So there was the honesty of it, So yeah, I don't know. I just keep throwing darts at YouTube and sometimes they stick. They never stick right away. They never
Yeah.
do. My videos do dismal the first month, I would say. Like when you look at my like how the viewership goes, it goes like this, it flattens out. They're like, cut you off.
Huh.
And then it could be like 3 months, 4 months later, then it goes. Or it never comes back. Yeah. I've never. I just posted one yesterday. I have 300 views. I have 20,000 subscribers and I got 300 views. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
is
interesting.
it bad? Is it bad? Because so I only post like long form video, like one a month about. I know you do the other channel, right? Where you do long form videos too.
Yeah.
I don't know how many you do.
Yeah, I go back and forth. I'm trying to like ramp up. I'd like to go back to doing every week, but sometimes it just doesn't seem like that's
I did that.
possible.
That worked out poorly for me.
Yeah,
Because
I did it for a while too, but
No,
I think the algorithm does like you to, and not only the algorithm, but I think people as well like you to post more regularly because then they're more like kind of
used to you.
yeah, like in tune with what you got going on. Like the main reason, like I used to say, oh man, the algorithm, that's why people stop, that's why channels don't do so well because the algorithm or whatever, and then I realized that some of my like some creators that I would watch that maybe they would get injured or something and then they would not make content for like a month or two.
Yeah.
And when they would come back, it would always take me a while to start watching them again. And it wouldn't, they'd be making videos and they'd be popping up, but I'd just be like, I'm not, like I just wasn't as like I guess involved in their life as much anymore. So it was easier for me not to pay attention. So I think because of that experience on my personally that I'm like, I think that actually that is people too, I think a lot of things that we blame on the algorithm, like realistically, the algorithm's just doing whatever it notices that people are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate the algorithm.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But we have people to blame for it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
see, because I tried that dance, making a video every week, and I hated the videos I was making.
Yeah.
I wasn't liking them, and I was like, I want to make good videos. I want to get better at it. I like to make good things. I don't want to do it because like I have to make this video this week. No, that's not. I mean, I still have to do other like make a living. Obviously, it's like tens of hundreds of dollars are coming in. It's amazing, right? It's like it's nothing.
Right.
It's
I have
terrible.
this buddy, or I knew this guy that he's a software developer and he would make like he had a couple of games that are on the software in the store, and he's like, man, I'm making thousands and thousands of cents.
Oh, that's it. I know. That's exactly.
And that's about how it goes on my YouTube channel. It's like, yeah, I'm making thousands and thousands of cents.
Right now, I'm making about $128 a month on that. I'm like, that's like a couple SD cards and like whatever. It's like look around, pick any item on my desk, and it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I tell people about, the memberships and the Patreon thing is really
Yeah.
what keeps me motivated. Is like, I can't remember what the number is anymore. I shared it a couple of weeks ago on one of my podcasts where it was like, I was like, take a guess on how much money you think that the Biker Bar podcast made last year. And I think, and I was just telling people like, put that number in your head. All right. And then I'm going to tell you what it is. And it was like $1,000 last year,
Yeah.
to like for doing podcasts all year long,
I made
so
$2,300 all year.
yeah.
That was my.
So, I mean, I think the reason that you do this stuff is because you really enjoy it, and I think what you just said a minute ago about not doing one every week just to do one every week makes sense to me as well. Like, you actually, if that's what's going to burn you out, then yeah, definitely don't do it. You know what I mean? I think every 2 weeks is pretty good. I think for me, that's probably more doable. I've just gone through these things where like I'm not putting any like I'm kind of doing like what you said, like I'm just want to make a good video and I don't care how long it takes. But I notice if I don't give myself any deadlines, that sometimes I'll just really procrastinate the hell out of it. And it'll be like, holy shit, a month has gone by and I haven't done anything.
This is the thing that actually made me more consistent about it and actually enjoyed it a lot is I ended up doing some product review videos on the on the products that I wanted. Not because somebody's like, here, this e-scooter piece of garbage. No, I don't want it. Don't want it free. Don't give it. Keep it. Right. I want this. So then I was like, because I'm planning on doing a bike packing trip in a couple of weeks. And I was like, I need racks, man. I need racks. I was like, there was Aero pack racks. I was like, those are good. Yeah. I was like, I'm buying them. But I need like front, top, back. I was like, I'm buying just the back. And then I'm gonna make a review video. And then I'm gonna just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. And put it on Instagram, did good. It performed well. And unlike all my other videos, all my product videos, they are super steady. They're like, and their traffic is basically 70-80% search.
That's I did it for a while. I was doing these 90-second reviews on my other channel, and I personally hate doing product reviews. Like I just I end up making them like too. I personally like end up like I'm shooting so much video, and it's like I make it way more complicated than it should be. And I think also I'm just not like a super nitty gritty kind of details kind of guy like that. And so I found like whenever I would watch reviews online, I just really I'd spend so much time like skipping through it, trying to get to the point of what I actually wanted to hear. And I was really thinking about, I was like, when you ask your buddy on the trail, like, hey, what do you think of those pedals? He doesn't talk to you for 15 minutes, man.
No.
He's like, I like this, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and you should buy it. Or you don't ever buy these. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where my idea with the 90-second review came up. It was like, okay, well, I'm gonna like I can do these reviews in 90 seconds because I can just give my opinion. And then it made me realize like how short 90 seconds is. Cause then I started like talking really fast to try to like get all this information out that I want to get out. And then, so it made you kind of pick and choose what you're actually going to say. But ultimately, I guess what I was getting at is those videos also, when they would come out, would like do nothing. You know what I mean? It's like barely any views. But they are consistent though. Like consistently.
They would catch up, right?
Yeah, they just like, I mean, those videos, I'm answering a comment on one of those videos all the time. So and it's just it's just
a light video. God, Raveman bike lights. They sent me an email and I looked at it. I was like, I actually like this. Send it to me. And they're like, have you posted a video? It's like, no, I haven't posted a video. When are you going to make a video? I'll be making a video soon. Just hold your horses. I'm testing. I'm doing this because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do a good job at this, right? So I made this video, and it's like 30,000 views now, or like it keeps going. And I was like, let me put an affiliate link into the Amazon store, like the whole thing. I was like, I'm going to set it up. Like, am I actually freaking selling product here? This was more for me because I'm like, all right, let's ball with this shit, right? Because you always feel like not having any data to like push back. It's like, no, you got to pay up, right? Like eventually I'd like to get paid, you know, but if you don't have the data, then you can't get paid. And I'm actually selling these lights. I'm getting like commissions, like whatever, $4. It's not about that. It's just that there are sales going in through this video of the lights that they sent me that I made a good fun. See, I don't just make the product. I use the product and I make stories with them. You know what I mean? I don't just sit in front of my whatever. I don't just
Yeah. That's the way I prefer to do it as well. Like if I'm talking about a product in one of my videos, like to me, it'll be like a sidebar kind of thing where it's like, oh, I got these new pedals. I'm really into them. Check them out, you know, or whatever. I prefer to do it more like that. And it feels a lot more natural than like, let me just do a video about these pedals and that's it. You know, and I just keep saying pedals because it's like whatever came to my mind. But
no, but there's value. Let me tell you like this. Like you and Lanowski, right? If it weren't for you or Lanowski, I would never know about Tasco. I wouldn't know about it. And I wouldn't know about what is this, Reeb? I was like, when he first was writing for Reeb, I was like, what's Reeb? The hell is that? Never knew about it. So what's the value of sponsorship? Well, that's the value of sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
Ferrazzi, which by the way, Ferrazzi, or whatever it's called, it was funny that it was Schumacher and Ferrazzi. I love that. But it was not, it's not anymore. It's like Ferrari and Schumacher. It's so close. So close. So close.
Yeah. I think I made a joke about that on Instagram.
Oh, you did?
You
had to. You had to. It was too easy.
I was like, well, that was the thing too. When I lived in Germany, like people would always ask me, like, "Oh, are you related to Michael?"
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's my brother. You know,
because it's so an uncommon name in Germany. Jesus Christ, there's like a million Schumachers.
Right?
No, there's definitely value there. You know what I mean? So
I think there's a lot of value, and I think that the cycling world is starting to realize that. But I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to wash out. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely can say in the time that I've been doing YouTube, you know, initially you would talk to a company and say, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel and you know, I have these many followers or whatever," and they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't really care." And now it's definitely more and more companies are like, "Oh no, I get it," and you're starting to see companies understand it even on different levels. Like you can have a channel that's huge, let's say, you know, 500,000 subscribers or something like that, but you can also have a channel that's like 5,000 subscribers, but there's 5,000, those 5,000 that they have are like super loyal, so they're like they can generate a lot of sales from their small like community, you know.
No.
And I
but
think
you can't never guarantee the reach. That's what bothers me. You can't, like Seth, right? 3 million plus subscribers, right? If you what are his views on good videos? 300, like a lot of views. Not knocking it. It's amazing, right? But he never reaches all of his audience. You can't get there. You can never I have 20,000 subscribers. I post a video and like at 300 views in a day. Like, it doesn't matter, really. Subscribers, I mean, if don't tell it to the companies, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You know, because you can't guarantee.
I don't think it matters as much as it used to. I think something's changed with the algorithm or something like that, where like it, because people will say like, "Oh man, I have the bell checked and I'm subscribed to your channel. I didn't even know you had a new video out." You know, and it's like, well, that's interesting, you know, I think at this point it's just like you're really kind of beholden to whether or not the the algorithm or whatever is like just shows your video in front of people into the ads or like
That's
the
it.
next
It's
or the
like rolling
homepage
of the
or
dice.
yeah.
How can like literally? I'm like, I'm not. I don't think any of my videos are amazing. I think they're all right. But if they're all kind of all right, how can one have 400,000 views and the next one like 1,000? And then it goes to like, okay. Or like one of like that one, for example, was God, what was like? It was like cycling tips nobody talks about. It was like my one of my pet peeves, or was like the first tip was like you should be able to turn your head around without swerving when you're riding on the road, right?
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
I watched that the other day.
pretty
People were
pretty
all pissed off about that, huh?
pretty freaking basic, right? So they're all ticked off because they're like, you're doing acrobatics, just put a mirror on, mirror, 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 every mirror. I was like, fucking mirrors. So I made a video specifically to answer all these people about, I got all the mirrors he talked about. I wanted to test the mirrors. So I'm like, the mirror crowd over here. So there's like thousands of comments, right? So I made kind of the answer video to that video, and it's 20,000 views, but it's not reaching the same. It's literally targeted to that. It's a match. It's almost like, you know how they say, once you make one really good video, then do that again, kind of in this, like stay close adjacent to
Yeah,
that video and then
yeah.
repeat that. That's what I did. And it just is not. It's not. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right,
YouTube's
YouTube.
so fickle, man. You never know
I
what it
know.
is.
I
And
know.
every
I'm
time
like,
you think you haven't figured it out, you're like, and nope.
yeah. No, but the
So
good thing is now that when somebody comments on that one video about this thing that I made a video about, I can just copy paste the answer, copy paste that video over there. I was like, here you go, look at that. I did it. I
yeah. Do you
bought it.
have that video like as one of the videos that pops up at the end of your other video?
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work either, huh?
No, it doesn't. I've done
Well,
all the little tricks, like, you know, like how you kind of let the people hang and tell them like you only know the next thing when you watch this video, right? At the end.
yeah,
I've done
yeah,
all the little things. It's like the little hooks where you like you almost start the next video, but it stops and you have to
yeah.
continue to watch. Yeah, I've done all that. You know, I try all the tricks. I love watching these YouTube tip videos. I do watch a lot of them. There's one guy that's really good. I don't remember what his name is. Film Booth or something? No, no, is it Film Booth? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Right
really
on.
entertaining. Yeah, it's super over edited. Like my videos are like I spent way too much time editing this thing. You know what I mean? I put like sound effects in and cuts, and I have like
Yeah.
I go cuckoo.
So what kind of content do you like to make over there? Do you like doing the reviews or do you like telling like the more of the cycling tips? What's your what do you enjoy making the most?
But right now, oh, this is an interesting thing. So remember the whole like trying to make money here, right? Maybe this is
Mhm.
works for you too. So I was like, I had a great idea for a video. It was actually more of a short for Instagram, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, if I could get somebody to like sponsor this video, that would be great. But how do you do that, right? Like they're like not gonna because they don't know what it's gonna be.
Mhm.
So I ended up reaching out to 3 companies. And I was like, listen, I have this really funny idea for this short for this video. And if I get whatever 500,000 views, you owe me
Yeah.
$1,000.
Right.
And that literally just happened. So they actually, it's Pedro's, like the
Yeah.
lubrication. Pedro's, the guy, I talked to them for a while, which is, they were great. And they've been around as long as me. So it's a perfect fit. And they gave me a bunch of lubes and Jane a full toolkit and stuff. And they're like, knock yourself out. Good luck. 500,000 views. You know, we'll happily send you a check. So I made a video about using Pedro's lube. And if I get reviews, we'll see. I know this last time I checked, I have like 498,000 views left.
Oh yeah. There you go. You're
I was
pretty close.
No, not even close. That's fun. See, that is fun for me because it's like I like a little bit of an incentive. You know what I mean? And just getting a product is just not enough sometimes. If you can dangle a little carrot, I mean, I think if they could do that to create, I mean, I would do that to a creator now. If somebody were to like, I want your big ring sprocket, Dan hanger, the hanger, any of my products, and it's like, I'm like, all right, I can send you the product, maybe, right? But what's the goal here? Where are we going with it? And if he were to say, if I get whatever 20,000 views in 4 weeks or whatever, then I was like, then we talk about money. I think it's a great way of going because you're getting product, right? You're getting something, and then if you do well, you get a bonus. It's perfect. It's like a good recipe. I think it's fair both sides, and it's also, but I don't know how else to do this. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how to price
Do you use
something.
that hanger? So I'm looking at your bikes that you got up on the wall behind you there.
Yeah.
Do you have the hanger? Is it like that's the one that's using the pedal?
Yeah, it's a pedal hook one. Yep.
And then is there anything on the tires too, or is just the pedal and that's it?
There's a little angle iron right there. Yeah. Front wheel
Right
angle
underneath the
iron.
tire.
Yep. Yeah.
On the
The
front
only
wheel
thing,
only or both wheels?
there's a rear wheel plate, and some of them have an angle iron for the rear, but the rear never really slides down. It's the front that slides down. The front's always heavier. The rear is mainly just to keep the wall clean. These don't have any plates or nothing on them. So, but yeah, that's all good.
So if you put those, like, let's say I was redoing my garage and I put those up, would it be like bike specific, or is that like measurement from where the wheel is to where the pedal is pretty much the same on any bike? Like I could take off like
Everything is different, but these are adjustable. They have little slots, and even the pedal hook itself is adjustable as far as angling it out. And then I have different toe gaps too, like for flat pedals or like speed plays or these little egg beater tiny things. So there's a lot of adjustability. Yeah, if you need something, let me know. You know what I mean? Love to send you something.
Yeah, I've been reconsidering what I'm doing in my garage, and I don't know what I'm doing yet though. So
Yeah.
I'm weighing out the options. I've been thinking about, the like the Velocirack.
No.
It's like Velociraptor rack. It's like a tow hitch rack, but the bikes kind of stand up and you like put your front tire in it.
So they stick into the room this way then.
Yeah. So they have like a mount that you can take their rack and then put it in this mount that's like, so then you can use the rack in your garage.
Got it.
So you can store your bikes on that. Yeah. And then you can, like, whenever you want to actually use the rack, you can like put it on your truck, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I have a hitch rack that I barely ever use. But it's like sometimes I do use it, and it's one of those things though where I'm like, I was thinking about selling the rack that I have and possibly buying one of those other ones. So then it would be like actually a dual purpose. Instead of me having a rack that just hangs on the wall most of the year, it's actually like serving a purpose,
Depends on how it uses the space. Mine are all about letting I have a couch below this. So you're actually using the whole floor space. Like, I mean, I sell a lot to the city, like New York City or like California and like a lot of cities, because people don't have like space, or even garages. If you're putting it along the wall high enough, you can still open the door in the car and you can get out, you can walk by. You just got to make sure you hang it high enough that your handlebars are above your head. You can just walk right by it. So you don't really use any garage floor space, which is like super valuable. You know what I mean? You don't want to put this thing on the wall and then you can't pull your car in anymore and like can't open the doors or something.
Yeah.
So
the racks that I have on the wall right now are not like exactly like yours, but they're just like the ones that kind of like fold out and you just stick your bike on there. And so for the most part, I was just trying to think of a way that I could store more bikes, I think is what it really comes down to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm either going to have to sell some bikes or I'm going to have to figure out some ways to store some more.
Yeah, you got to overlap them. I've done like 3, like on an 8-foot high wall, you can stagger 3 bikes on top of each other, so they're kind of overlapping each other.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right, because so the big ring
With your system is what you're talking about.
Because the pedal hook is adjustable in length, right? So the longer the pedal hook is, the more lean you have on the bike. So
okay.
you keep the top one pretty tight with the handlebars to the wall. The next one you lean out a little more, and then you scoot it up, so you can overlap it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little bike sandwich there. So yeah.
There
It
you
gets
go.
a little, you can geek out on it, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at the hanger Instagram, it's literally just customer photos mostly of people. I have one person I think it's a record. He has 4 bikes on top of each other. Yeah, I think he
Oh
had like
wow.
10-foot ceilings or something, but it's like 4 bikes. It's like this wall of bikes. It's crazy. It's really cool. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
No,
Yeah,
I love my customers. I really enjoy it. Sometimes I talk bikes. I mean, this is the thing, Amazon or all this knockoff shit. It's just, I wish it would just go away and die, but it's not.
So is there a
Because,
bunch of people copying your product?
oh God. I mean, like I said, it was the trademark punch in the face, and I got copycatted like left and right and knocked off. I was selling on Amazon, which was a mistake in the beginning. It was selling like hotcakes on Amazon, which is really a problem because Amazon shows, it's basically public. You can see how much is selling or what, right? So the people that knock off stuff, they don't knock off stuff because they think this is cute. They know the numbers, they know the data before they go into something. And they're
Yeah,
like,
so they're like, "Oh man, that thing's selling like hotcakes. I'm gonna
correct.
make a
We
copy
can
of
make
that."
this for cheaper with shittier, and they were actually at that point using our photos and photoshopping their products into my photos, and it was
Oh
like
wow.
they were like, I'm not kidding, they were like 50, 60. I was like, company would take down notice. You have to fill out takedown notices so somebody takes your images. They would run Facebook ads, Instagram ads. It was every day. I would squash like 10, 10, 10, 10. They would like literally start a new company. Like, wouldn't not a new company, a new page, basically, right? It's all you need
Yeah.
is a Facebook page, run ads, and there were hundreds of Amazon stores that would sell that product. And they were actually sometimes even using other product reviews from like you would read the review about the pedal hook and they were talking about this fishing hook is amazing. I was like, fish hook, this doesn't match the product. They were
Yeah.
they were such shysters. They were such, it's just, Kickstarter got ruined, Amazon got ruined. Just, it's all garbage. You know what I mean? I hate
Yeah.
it. So
So you just sell direct to consumer now, like through your website,
yes.
or?
Yes, and there's a phone number on there. You can call me. I'll pick up the phone, or I'll call you back. You can email me. You can message me. I'm there. So it's great. And last week I went down to South Carolina for a little training camp, and I basically said, I'm not going to be here for the week. Here's a discount code, automatic, I think 10% off. I'll ship it next Monday, and people order. I'll come back. I'll ship it. So it's pretty low key right now. It works,
Yeah.
It's better this way. And then I still, when I need money, I still do construction. And believe it or not,
Uh-huh.
that happens a lot. Because like I said, you can't live off of YouTube. And the way the bike industry right now is, I can't really live off that either. I gotta tell you that.
Uh-huh.
So uh, I have other ways of making money, which is good. Luckily, I know how to use my hands and I have other skills. So whenever there's some opportunity to work, I'll do that. And I teach a couple of bike clinics, do that, and just keep muddling along. I don't know.
Do you think that I mean I feel like the skill stuff does really well on YouTube for people that can articulate those things well.
Yep.
Do you see success with that with your videos?
Yeah. No, I've done some good ones. I want to do some more of those. Definitely. I need to wait for warmer weather. it just doesn't look so good when you're like wearing like a rain jacket and like have all this, like it's too cold. It's like today was like 35 and
Yeah.
shade, right? So no, it's not the time to make videos. There's like, we really have a season here to make videos, and it's not now. Not yet.
Yeah.
Wait another
Yeah.
month.
You gotta do stuff in your garage, I guess,
If
huh?
you watch anybody from the East Coast, which is not that many, if you watch Lanowski's stuff, it's like he doesn't make any videos all winter unless he goes to Sedona or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does. There's like all crickets and tumbleweeds all winter long, or he goes to Florida or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know why you would want to shoot in the shitty weather with the rain, because it just doesn't look fun, because it's not
Yeah.
fun. You know? And whenever when you shoot videos, you don't really ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a ride. It's
It's a
like,
little different. Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to make yourself miserable as a mountain biker, go ride with somebody who shoots a YouTube video. You're gonna hate your life. You're gonna be like, this sucks. He's like, this is not a ride. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I won't take anybody. I don't want anybody near me who wants to even remotely ride when I make a video. No, I can't.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a collaboration with somebody, but nobody lives here. So. Oh, you know what?
There
What is that? Brian BKXC?
BKXC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did this tour, right? The state all around the
Yeah.
country.
50 states. Yeah. Yeah.
And he like drove by here, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm right here," and he just drove right by.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, "Fuck."
He probably had places to go. So he's actually close to me. So
Yeah, no.
but
He made a video in New York City with some other dude riding in the city. I was like, yeah, I could have done that. That's all right.
yeah.
It's fine. But
So
no,
what do you feel like you've learned in all these years of doing YouTube? What's your key advice to somebody that wants to start a channel?
well, I guess the key advice is to stay on a topic. And even that topic can be broken down into like super narrow niche. And I'm actually noticing myself right now I ride road bike, gravel, mountain bike. I mean, I've raced track. I can make a track bike video. I can make all kinds of cycling videos, which is actually mountain bikers, not that they hate gravel, but they kind of do. You know what I mean? Gravel, they might not be interested in like it's if you start a channel, you got to really maybe narrow in on one thing and stay there for a while. You know what I mean? As long as possible. And then you'll see where the audience will come from. You know, when I look at my audience, they mostly came from, you should get a mirror on your bike.
Yeah.
For some people. No, it's great. I like it. And you know what it is? Also, I have a really interesting demographic. I have a lot of, because I'm 52, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of 50, 60, 70 plus commenters. Like, this is great. I've been riding forever. Blah, blah, blah. I've been doing this, da, da, da. I have definitely an older demographic on my channel, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? I speak to the right people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't do backflips. I don't do 360s. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? If I do a 360, it's not on purpose.
It's not
going to be good either.
Yeah.
No. So start a YouTube channel. I mean, just because you like doing videos, don't have any expectations. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like my own best customer, and I also use like last week's video, which I posted yesterday. No, so it's this week's video. Shot last week. It was we shot most of it in South Carolina. And my wife is in it a lot. I did a Cyprus one where we went on a cycling vacation in Cyprus. It was about, what Cyprus like for cycling. It was great. And for me, I like to make the best video I can for my audience, but also I really love having them forever. It's just something I look back on and I really enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I think I've definitely watched a bunch of my old videos just to relive the moment, you know. And I
Yeah.
think that's fun to have. So I
Mhm.
saw you had this video on Italy cycling tour versus an unplanned trip.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
what was the verdict on that one? Is it what do
The
you think of the cycling tours?
The cycling tours, the verdict was that they're a little bit too much. If and I think for me it came down to the danger of being stuck with somebody you might not get along on a cycling tour can be an awful experience.
Yeah,
So also the whole adventure of getting a little bit uncomfortable and lost and not understanding everything is like the whole point of traveling. I don't understand
yeah,
why somebody would want to go to a foreign country and then have everything done for them and everything handed to them. That's
yeah,
doesn't sound that's not what I like to do. But I compared it and broke it down in pricing, and it's just there's so much money left over if you're just willing to rent your own car and do stuff. It's so much cheaper in the places you can. Yeah, the
yeah.
bike tours, it's a little bit of a racket, I would say. But
Yeah, I always see these guys like doing these other like mountain biking trips and stuff like that. And I always, every time I look at the price, I'm always like, man,
no,
like, like $3,000 to go ride Moab for a week. I'm like, for a week, man. I mean, I feel like I could drive over there and just, like
stay there for like a
they have trail
month.
forks, you
I
know?
know. I know.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, crazy.
but the guides want to get paid. The company maybe
Yeah.
is there wants to get paid. They're going like, they
I
have their
think some of the
cars.
places though, like some of the like destination places, like these companies that are like doing like the trip in like Oaxaca in Mexico,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
that to me is like they're taking you out to these places that
Yeah.
it's not really documented well, and they're
No,
gonna like take you to good restaurants and
that's
set
worth
you
it.
up. Like those ones, I think those are worth it, you know?
Exactly. See, you can go to Oaxaca by yourself. You can rent a car, you can do stuff, and then you go hire them to
Yeah,
do your tours. I mean, you don't have to necessarily do the whole package. You can do
yeah,
a
yeah,
nibble. I like to nibble a little bit.
yeah,
I'll come and I'll do a thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I don't really like. You should watch this video I did from last week because we camped in Greenville and it was like $230 for the week at the campground. There were like hot showers. It was like electric. I was everything. It was like it was such a good campground. It was like one of the best campgrounds I've
Did you
been
go
at.
there with your van, or you just went actually with like tents?
No, no, vent with the van,
Oh,
with the
okay.
van. Um, but we were about 20 minutes from Hotel Domestique, which is George Hincapie's hotel,
Hmm.
and a night in that hotel is $460. So we're like in the same area and we're spending
Yeah,
like $230 for the week, yet we're in a van camping, but
yeah,
I'm getting the same experience as far as soon as I step outside. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Like
really wanted to build a van for a while, but I don't know, man. Every time I like do all the numbers, it's like I don't know if it's really worth it for me. You know?
it's worth it if you hold on to a long time. I spent about $10,000 in parts and a lot of time. And then
Yeah,
also I was a contractor and I have a lot of contractor friends. So they're all like, "Oh, you're building a van? Can't wait to see it." It's like, fuck. It's like I had to do a good job. I couldn't just glue it and like nail it
yeah,
together. I had to
yeah,
like trim and shit. And I'm like, fuck, am I gonna get that's how it goes.
yeah,
Friends come over and like, so let me see a van. They're like, okay. And it's like
yeah, yeah,
I did some specialties here. You know what I mean? It started
yeah.
to
Every time I try to talk my wife into it, she's like, for let's just say the van's 50 grand by itself, and then you're gonna
mm,
spend another 10 to 20 on it, like building it out or whatever. And she's like, man, $70,000, we can get a lot of hotel rooms for
correct,
$70,000.
correct. This is it. So this is the thing. My van is my only car. That's my daily driver. If
Yeah.
you do that, that's my
Then it works out a little better. Yeah.
totally works out. And the van, I bought it used. I didn't buy a new. I paid like 30 grand. It was a repo. It's like
Yeah.
I came with
Some
one
other
key.
guy was going to build it out, just
Oh,
didn't work out.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I know. Somebody had pipe dreams, and I didn't build it out. Well, it got repossessed. I bought it from a dealer, and then I put 10 grand into it. So I was 40 into it, but I've had it now for like, God, what is it now? 8 years now. And I'm, like I said, I'm going to run that thing into the ground. You know what I mean? It's been.
What would you do differently when you build another one?
I get a 3 foot more longer one. That's it.
Yeah.
Or I'll build a shower. So this is where I would. This is the big difference. Design, like, I love everything in the design of the van, how it's set up with the bikes.
How long is the one that you have?
It's a 158 or something wheelbase.
Okay, so it's not the super big one then.
No. I want to get the longest one next time, because if I get another 3 feet, right now where the toilet is, there's just like it's underneath the little seat covered. Doesn't look like a toilet. It's under your seat. Slide it out. I would move that next to the sink where the fridge is. The fridge, I would never put the fridge back down on the floor where it is. I hate it because you can never go in. They can never see what's in the back. You have to like.
Because you're always having to bend over to get to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fridge would move up high, easy to get to, and then that side next to the sink would be a counter that you could flip open. That's where your toilet is. You can slide the toilet out, but it's also a sit-down shower from the faucet over. Done.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I want to have a sit-down shower basically built into the kitchen area. It doesn't look like it, make it look nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the shower thing was the one thing I would always go back and forth on, whether or not I really needed it.
The what?
Whether or not I would build a shower in mine. It was always something I would always go back and forth on.
See, I wouldn't build a shower, but you have to have a place for the toilet anyway. That might as well be a wet cell. That could be.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that where like they build the shower and the toilet, and they also make it like a closet. So you can like take all the stuff out and then shower if you want to, or
you only want countertop height. That's where your shower stops. So you have to literally sit. You just want to rinse yourself off once in a while. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you have right. So, and then when you're not showering, the countertop, it's just kitchen cabinets. Close the door. It doesn't look like a shower because the openness is what you really need in a van. I mean, those things are tiny, man. And we go to we haven't this year, but we've done like 3 times now where we go to Arizona for like 3 weeks. And it's me, my wife, and the 2 dogs in this tiny van for 3 weeks. And we are not murdering each other. It's fine. It works. We have a good system. No, really. You need to have a good system. You know what I mean? Yeah. For 3 weeks in a van.
Yeah, that's a long time.
For 2 people with dogs. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, by yourself, you can handle easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That part would be easy there. Yeah, I just always go back and forth on it. It's like I have this like whole process that I go through. It's like I start out where I'm like, I'm gonna buy a camper shell for my truck, and I'm just gonna build out like a thing like that, right? Yeah. And then next thing you know, I'm like, well, I could get like a teardrop trailer. So then I started looking at teardrop trailers, and then next thing you know, I'm like, man, I'm already into I should just look at a van. And then I start looking at a van, and then I spend a couple hours doing that. And then I get to the point where, holy shit, this is expensive. I don't need this. And then I shelf it for a couple months, and then I go through the same process again.
Yeah. I had everything in my life. I had a pull camper trailer, like a pull trailer in Germany, actually, with the VW bus. A nightmare, but it's this big old, like, it's a pain in the ass to drive. You don't want to take it anywhere. It's like you can't set it up. It's like a nightmare. So pull trailers, I'm not a big fan of. Then I had 2 RVs. I had a Class A, a Class C. Class A was like a big old bounder. It was like a 454 and an old one. Like, it was back then. I was like, I had it out west in Colorado. It was like, back then gas was $1 a gallon, and it cost me
right. It didn't matter.
It cost me $100 to fill up then.
Right.
Can you imagine now filling it up? Jesus Christ. I see them driving by the old ones, the 454, the big block, whatever engines. I was like, oh my God, he pulls into the gas station. It's like a mortgage payment or something. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. I know. And then I did have a pickup truck with a slide. I would say a pickup truck with a sliding camper is my second choice after van. I would say
Really?
that sounds like what you would really enjoy. You
You
don't have
know
to
what
build it.
what I found recently that I think I might actually pull the trigger on is there's this company called Flated. And so it's the same kind of technology as like a sup, like an inflatable sup board. You know
Mhm.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
Except
stand-up
for
paddleboards.
it's but they use that same technology to build a camper shell for your truck. And then they also have like a platform that you could blow up and put in your truck bed so that you could have like a bed and then slide things in and out. And then basically, like, the thing that I like about it is that, like, when you're not using it, you can just deflate it and it just rolls up into like a little ball. You can stick it up in the rafters or
Yeah,
something
if
like that.
somebody wants to rob you, they'll just like put a little prick in it.
Yeah, right.
They're
But I
like,
mean, for me, like the
give me
way
all
that
your
I would
money or
actually,
I'll pop your camper.
yeah. To me, like the way that I see myself like actually using is like, oh, I want to go like mountain biking somewhere for a weekend. I don't want to have to like
Yeah.
set up a tent and all that shit. So it's like I could have like everything in the back of there all set up and like
I know.
just drive in and I'm good to go, you know?
I
Just
know.
throw the bikes on a
I'm
like
a
a
little
hitch rack or
I'm a
something.
little concerned about my backpacking experience coming soon because I'm very spoiled with the van. I haven't done the tenting in a long time. I mean, I've done it, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be a little different, you know.
How
So
long is the ride that you're gonna do?
it's like 430 miles Arizona trail. The problem is that I only have like a week, really like maybe 8 days. I gotta bang it
Hmm.
out, and it's like 75,000 feet of elevation gain.
Jesus Christ.
It's a lot. Mm,
So you're gonna be trying to do like
50
60,
miles
80
a
days.
day, 50, like, yeah, a little over 50 miles a day. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I ran the numbers I've done a
Is
lot
it
of
like a gravel bike that you're using or like a
full
actual
suspension.
mountain
It's
bike?
actually this guy right back there. It's a Jameis. Which one is it? Portal. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
Jameis. Yeah, those guys have been helping me out a lot lately, which is great. I got their gravel bike and the Portal. It's 29 of full suspension, and I got the aero racks. And then actually, the aero rack people have been great too. They sent me after I made this one video well, I basically said, "Hey, this video did really well. I'm doing a trip. I need more bags." They sent me like $600 worth of stuff, so they're like totally hooked me up for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
trip. Um, Full suspension. No, the Arizona Trail. Have you ridden any of it?
No. Where's it go?
It goes from. It actually starts on the other side of the Grand Canyon, all the way
Hmm.
down to the Mexican border through the whole state of Arizona. I think
Oh wow.
the whole thing is 800 miles long. About.
Oh wow.
No, I know. The people that do the whole thing, they're like on for a long time. There's a race, which is listen to this now. This is ridiculous. The record, like, what do they call it? There's an FKT, fastest known time. FKT is 9 days for 800 miles.
Wow.
Wackadoodles. They
Yeah,
sleep like
have you ever seen that like Tour de Divide stuff?
yeah, yeah.
Those guys, the record for that's like 15 days or something like that. And it's like from Canada all the way to Mexico.
I know it's
Yeah, those
cuckoo.
guys are nuts.
I know that's when I was like, this is a lot, 50 miles or some 54 miles a day, and like I was like 10,000 feet of climbing or whatever a day. So it seems like a lot for like a week every day. And then I was like, what's the record on this? 9 days for the whole thing. I was like, all right. It's like, I can't complain too long, but I'm not really. I think I can handle. Well, we don't know. I don't know the whole trail. That's the thing. I did there. There's Superior, like that's a little west. What is that? Yeah, no, east
So
of.
10,000 feet a day though. Those are big days, man. What are you
You
doing to
know,
train?
well, I'm training every day. I mean, I'm getting ready for. So last year we both my wife and I we both qualified for gravel world championship in Italy. So we went to Italy
Mhm.
last year. That's why I made the video about bike tour and whatever. I try
Mhm.
to make some sort of story. Nobody really cares how I race, so I don't really make race videos because they're like,
Mhm.
I don't care. I just make other interesting things. But I do still race and I do compete. And this year we're trying to qualify for the gravel world championship in an age group again, right? So the 50
Mhm.
plus I am.
Mhm.
And there's a qualifier in Arkansas, and then there's a qualifier in Canada, and you got to be either finishing as a UCI World Series. You got to finish either in the top 3 or in the top 25% of your field in your age group. So, and then if you qualify, you get to go to Worlds. You get to spend more money.
Mhm.
It's great, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll make it this year again, and then we'll go to Belgium and we'll race there.
So what do
So
you
that's
do to train for doing 10,000 feet a day? Are you using like a trainer, or you
Oh, right
said the
now,
weather's good?
there's a lot of Swift going on. I know you're doing the Swift a lot too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Swift happening in this house. I know my better half just finished Swifting too. I Swifted literally just an hour and a half before we jumped on.
Yeah.
Just doing
Man, I used to really, really talk shit to people that did Zwift because I'd be like, out in Northern California, the weather's pretty good out here. I'd be like, dude, just ride outside, man.
yeah.
And then once I did the training plans, though, holy cow, man, those things are like they're
You got to
really
be
good.
careful. You got to be careful with the Swift plans. They're sometimes too hard, a little bit too hard. Like I've
You think?
seen, yeah, I know, I know, I know they're too hard. You know what I mean? They're just going too much, too hard, too soon, too fast. You know what I mean? You got to build
Hmm.
a good base before you dip your toes into those plants. People start them too soon. Sometimes you got to do good base miles. You got to be able to clear that lactate. You got to be able to like handle that stress. In general, age wise, I would say you don't really do any more than 2 hard efforts a week, and then everything else is more like base miles anyway, or like
Yeah.
zone 1, zone 2, and then you do
Yeah.
1 day a week VO2 max. Maybe you do another threshold, like sweet spot or above threshold interval day, 2 days that are like full on. Maybe hit the gym
Hmm.
and do that, and then everything else is more like endurance. If you and like what I say to anybody who wants to go fast or do anything, if you see like 3 days at the or 2 days, how about 3? If you see 3 days on the horizon that you can ride your bike, right? Make that a block of like, I'm gonna depending on what your shape you're in, you do like, I'm gonna do 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. All right. Right. The 1 hour is probably easy, the 2 hours, a little harder, and then you do a 3 hours and you keep all of those in zone 2. Like don't go above. Hard, like that's hard, right? Because you're not really pushing yourself, but you're gonna feel it at the third day. First day, you're gonna be like, it's a piece of cake. Second day, like, oh, it's not that bad. And third day, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling it, right? Like,
Right.
for example, we did like that's like when I do base training, that's mainly what I do. Like when we did like national team, I went with the national team, German national team to Mallorca, cyclocross or whatever. A base training was a lot of times just we would get there and we ride 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then take a rest day. And then we do 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, take a rest day, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, rest day.
Hmm.
You come home after that, you kind of just, oof, right? But you're weirdly tired. You're not, because none of the efforts are hard. They're just long zone 2
Yeah.
rides. You
Yeah.
know
I
what I mean?
was doing some training to try to, I want to do like 10,000 feet in a day. I've never done that.
Mhm.
And when I was doing that, I've noticed like some of those days whenever I would put like,
You can't go hard.
no, but what I was getting at is like somewhere around like the 5 hour mark, I start not liking riding bikes anymore.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like this is not as fun, like I don't know, like
Like because of where you are, or just because you're by yourself, or
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just starts
yeah,
like losing like it's like I feel like then I'm just like trying to do some goal instead of like actually having fun.
yeah. It
Yeah.
depends. Like if it's like it's a gotta be like those long rides. I like them to be destinations more or less. Like
Yeah.
I have this big loop I've made last year on Strava or whatever. I created this lap, which is the in the Catskills. There's like 5 reservoirs. I don't know. It's a dumb ride. It's 130 miles or something. I still haven't done it, but I've made it. So it's like sitting there, and I'm like, and I had a friend of mine was like, I want to do that with you. I was like, yeah, but not this week. And I was like, we keep looking at it. It was like, one day we'll do this ride. We'll get
So
a
is
touch.
it like 130 mountain bike miles?
No, that's road. Yeah.
Road. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Road riding is phenomenal here where we live. Like in the Catskills, it's not cars.
Yeah.
Great. Like road and gravel. So I mostly ride my gravel bike on the road then, but it's pretty safe. There's not much going on, which is it's very like European style roads. There's a lot of little roads where nobody drives. You know what I mean? Lots of turns, windy, down the hills. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of that back east. A lot more of that back east, at least.
Yeah. When I lived in Colorado, we lived in Longmont, like close to Boulder, and that place is highly overrated for cycling, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's a good proximity to good mountain biking. You're close, but you're not there. There's like couple good rides in the Front Range, but if it rains or snows, you're not touching those trails for another week because of all the clay. It just your tires balloon out, your feet, like you can't even do anything. You have to let it dry out. Can only ride it dry. And the road riding is like death defying, straights, like degree corners and trucks driving super fast. There's bike path in Boulder, but yeah, I don't know. I lived there for 3 years. It was fun, but it was like not for me. And then I moved back to New York, and my wife's from the city. And actually, I love riding my bike in New York City. Like, I really enjoy that a lot. I really do. It's interestingly safer than the midway. Like, there's like country is great. Country, no cars, little roads, great. And then big city is great because the middle, the suburbia, that's where you're gonna die. I feel like.
Yeah.
No, you are, because they're going like 60 miles an hour, like buzzing you because it's busy and they're all in a rush. The soccer moms are driving like the SUVs and just like it's crazy, right? So it's just too much going on in suburbia. You don't want to ride your bike. It's a terrible place to be. But in New York City, you're faster than every car out there, right? Nobody's faster than a bike. You're rid, right? Then the bike path, like it's gotten really good. Sometimes it's actually the bike path is not it's better to ride in the road than the bike path, depending on how fast you're moving, because you're moving as fast or faster than the cars. Like if you're going down, like bombing down Fifth Avenue, or you're going like through Times Square or so, it's like bike path. I'm like just gonna roll with traffic, you know what I mean? And it's all big one ways. It's just cool. It's fun.
Yeah. It sounds fun. Yeah, I never I saw you were doing that video with the Garmin thing in the New York City. So
yeah.
What'd you think of the radar?
Loved it. I was surprised. I was ready to return it. I was like, I'm buying all the shit, making a video, and return it. That's like a full-on art department movie move. Like we were like in the movie business, like the independent film business, man, they buy all this shit and leave the tags on, like you tuck them in, or like never tuck in, keep the boxes. We all the sets, and as soon as it's wrapped, like cut the scene, everything gets packed up, brought back to Home Depot, whatever. That's literally the move. That is the move of independent filmmaking, right?
There you go. You got to do it on a budget, right?
Yeah, no, I know, but that's I learned a lot from them. I'll tell you this,
So, but you enjoyed the radar though. You thought it was really good.
Radar's worth the money, absolutely, 100%. I'm one of those terrible people that love to ride with headphones. I've done it all my life. It's probably a bad idea. I don't recommend it. But I used to. I mean, I turn around I look around me a lot. I'm always basically riding as if people.
Have you tried the like aftershocks, the bone conducting ones?
I really want to try those.
If you, I also listen to music when I ride, and I use those aftershock ones, and they're amazing. They're amazing. They're
in front of you,
yeah. It is worth every penny. Really? Like honestly, you can totally hear everything around you. It sounds like the music's just coming from inside of your brain, like, but you can still hear everything. Like, so, like, it's not like
which one did you get? What are they called?
These are the ones that I use here. They're I don't know which model it is. I think they always change the names. I think they're calling them like Open Run Pro now or something like that. Or they have the other ones too that just hook on the ear. They don't have this like back piece.
Does this need to be charged? And is this like wireless?
Yeah, it's wireless. It's Bluetooth. So yeah, you just charge it. Like it's got a little.
I mean, I only use headphones or ride with music when I'm by myself. I would never do that with other people.
I do this all the time. Like even when I'm riding with my friends, I just have it down low, and then it's like,
you just
It's
like I don't like my friends.
Talk to the I always carry my phone in my front pocket, and then I can just like hit the volume button. There's volume buttons on these too, but I don't like fumbling around, especially with gloves. It's like hard to tell, where the button is. So I just carry my phone in my front pocket, and I can hit the volume button on my phone real easy and turn it up and down. And for the most part, though, it's like
I feel like there's a Sid and Mackie discount code coming any second now.
They do. They got a sponsorship or something with them.
I know, that's what I was saying. That's the first time I heard. Again, the shit works. The marketing, like if brands listening to this, it works. I mean,
I'll tell you what, man, I for a long time would use headphones, and then I would usually try to find headphones that like would kind of fit loose in my ears, so that way I could still hear what's going on around me,
Yeah.
And there was a guy I was riding with that had these, and he's like, man, you should really try these. They're like they you can hear everything around you. And I was like, oh yeah, that's great. And I was not planning on ever trying them. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. And he's like, no, seriously, put them on. And I put them on. And as soon as I put them on, I was like, and now I'm buying them. Yeah. Like it's like that good. Yeah.
Bringing it back to the radar, because of music, this actual visual detection of vehicles is like such a extra layer. It's so helpful, and it's so far too. Like sometimes the cars are so far back, and I get this little, this beeping. It's inaudible, and it's also a visual. You can see the little car moving, and you can also see if it's moving fast or slow. Like if it's red, it's coming fast at you. And it's like if it's red, I'm like, oh, I'm looking behind me. I'm like, who's coming?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good.
I'm one of the mirror guys. I use a mirror. So
you do?
Yeah.
On the helmet?
I use ones like this that just click on your glasses. I don't like the ones that are on the helmet.
Yes.
So these kind of slide onto your glasses, and then
I think I had that one exactly. Which one is that one called? There's one that's really good. I bought all of them, literally.
Yeah.
Those people that did all the comments, they're like, "You're an idiot. Get a mirror. You're an idiot. Get a mirror." I'm like, "Okay, I'm an idiot. I'm getting all the mirrors." And I'm like, they work. I just couldn't rely. I was just still turning my head. Honestly, I was like, I had the mirror. I'm like, okay. And then I did this whole thing where I was like, I think it was Park Avenue. I was like, okay, I'm going to go from the right lane to the left, and I'm not going to turn my head. I'm just going to use the mirror, because people are saying you don't have to turn your head anymore if you have a mirror. My God, I shit my pants almost, because I was like, looking at this mirror, I was like, I know that's not a car. But I was like, I want to turn my head really badly. And I'm like, and it was really, really uncomfortable. And I was like, I can't. I have to turn my head. I understand some people can turn the head if they have neck issues with this, but
I think for the most part I use the mirror, but there's some circumstances where I'll still just turn my head. But for the most part, I use the mirror. I like the mirror as well. Like there's a bike path here in Sacramento that's about 30 miles long, and I like just being able to like see, oh, there's some riders coming up behind me, or or like if you're riding in a group, like, oh, I'm starting to pull away, or slow down the pace a little bit or something like that. So I like it. I don't use it mountain biking, obviously. Like,
don't make
no sense on a mountain bike, but on the road bike, I definitely like if I leave without the mirror or something, like say I broke my mirror and I'm waiting for a new one to come, I usually feel like
I feel like
naked or something.
I feel like we've lost the whole audience of mountain bikers now. You're gonna like, this guy's looking roadie.
Probably. Well, we are at 2 hours anyway, so
no, we've chased all the mountain bikers away. It's time to go home.
It's all right. It's all right. It was a good conversation, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and hang out with me.
Yeah, thanks. I feel like a complete fraud being on the same channel as Seth and all these other big ones. You know what I mean?
I think it's just fun talking about bikes, you know, and I think people enjoy listening to the conversations. And you've had quite a story from all the way from the world, the national championships to here on YouTube. So I think I'm sure it'll be a fun listen.
Poopy face tomato nose.
Right. I always ask people what YouTube channels they like to watch, even if it has nothing to do with mountain biking. What do you watch? What do you like to watch?
Nothing to do with mountain biking? Oh, that's really
even if it has nothing to do. I mean, it could be mountain biking that you watch, but what do you like to watch?
I watch all the channels, you know. I watched like Sid and Mackie. Actually, you know what? Talking about that, they had a 24-hour race the other day. It was a really good video on the 24 Hours of Pueblo. And I don't know if they're listening to this, but they got to get some two-way radios. Because I used to do the 24 Hours of Moab. And you have a two-way radio, and you let the other guy know when you're coming in, so they don't have to stand there and waiting. It's just silly.
Yeah.
Like, it's an easy move. I watched them like mess up some exchange because he wasn't there when she came in.
Oh, I see.
It was like that was like one of the better videos in my book, at least, because I really enjoyed it, because I've done 24-hour races. They did a 24-hour race, but then I was like, why don't you have radios? I wanted to like scream at the TV, but I did. So I'm like, and my wife too, she was sitting there, it's like, why don't they have radios? It's like, we have radios, and it was in the 90s, you know. That's like, come on, it's like technology.
You guys are basically like the mirror people, except for you're peddling
like the old Sid and Mackie, like, that's funny. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Oh well.
So, anyways, well, hey man, I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and everybody, and it was a good time, man, for sure. So
yeah,
all of you out there listening, if you haven't already, go over there and check out his channel. It's in the show more. If you're listening on a podcast, you can always click the link there as well. It's just Cycling Skills, no space. Just put it in their YouTube if you want to just type it in yourself. Other than that, definitely, if you're thinking about getting a new bike, check out Ari. I've been super impressed, man, with the pedaling efficiency of the LaSalle that I've been riding. That thing is 170 millimeters and it still pedals really, really well. It's really surprising. Outside of that, like I said, use the code biker over at Tasco, pick up some gear. And other than that, you want something for free, just remember, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one. Oh yeah.